Hey everybody, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Sonia, aka Sister Philly, just in case this is your first time here. Today we're going to be talking all about makeup brushes. So we're going to do an entire makeup routine and I'm going to show you what my favorite brushes are for each step in my makeup application. And I have a couple of honorable mentions to share with you too. So let's jump right into it. Alright, for foundation today, I'm using the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation, and I am in the color 510 Hazelnut. So I'm wearing this today just to kind of test it out. I did wear it a couple days ago, and I still can't really tell if I want to keep this foundation or, still try to make it work. So that's why I'm using this today. My favorite foundation brush is the NYX. I think this is called the Multi-Buffer Brush or the NYX Pro Buffer Brush. I can't remember, but I'll have it on the screen. So this foundation is really good for a brush because it's kind of thin and liquidy, and I like using brushes with those types of foundations. But what I like about it is that I love how the handle is really long. I feel like it gives you some workspace. But in terms of the brush head, it's really soft. So when it's hitting my face, you can see that when I go like this, the bristles, they bend very easily and they're just very comfortable on the face. And because of the size of the brush head, it just covers a lot of surface when you're trying to do your foundation. I do have a couple of honorable mention brushes that I want to show you. Now this NYX brush, this one retails for $17. So a couple of other options is the M439 by Morphe. I believe this one retails for $14 or $15. The brush heads are pretty similar. The only difference really is the handle on the Morphe brush is wider and not as tall. I guess wider and shorter is what I'm trying to say. But also the brush head on the Morphe brush is a little more stiff. So if you want to use a brush but you want like a little more coverage, I think the Morphe brush is a good option. Another alternative is the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. Again, the brush heads are pretty similar. This one is dirty because I used it yesterday, but the brush head is pretty similar. And in terms of like density, I feel like this one is like in between the NYX one and the Morphe one. Not quite as soft as NYX, but a little softer than the Morphe. And this one, I believe, costs $6. But my favorite honorable mention, so this is the brush that I would go for if my NYX brush is dirty. This is the Luxie 532 round top blender brush, and I feel like in terms of the softness, it's pretty much the same as the NYX one. Now that I'm rubbing my hands against it, my fingers, maybe this one is not quite as soft as NYX, but it's pretty much the same thing. So those are some options, but my favorite foundation brush is this one from NYX. Alright, I'm using my everyday under eye concealer. This is Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. And I'm in the color Mocha. And I know a lot of people like to blend their under eye concealer out with a sponge. I actually prefer a brush. And my favorite is the Colourpop F5 brush. This is called the Small Buffer Brush. Now honestly, if I had another brush that was pretty much shaped the same way, but just a little bit bigger, I think that I would prefer that. I just haven't looked for that because this one does get the job done. I feel like the size of the brush head, it fits really nicely in the corner of my eye. And what I love about this, I actually used to blend my under eye concealer out with a standard foundation brush, and as you can see, this one is a lot more tapered. What I like about this brush instead is that it's like perfectly tapered, so it's not too stiff when I'm trying to blend this out, so it's like really mobile on my face. It'll bend really easily and it's just a lot more comfortable. A brush in general won't shear your foundation out as much as a sponge in my opinion, but with this particular brush I can like move the product around if I need to without shearing it out. I got this one obviously from Colourpop. This might be sold at Ulta. I'm not sure if Ulta sells Colourpop brushes, but this one costs $7. Okay, my favorite brush for setting my face is the e.l.f. Contouring Kabuki Brush. I'm not quite sure why they call this a contouring brush because you see like how big the brush head is. I just feel like what can you contour with this because, you know, the bristles are so wide, but that's what it's called. I know that I got this one from Target, and I believe it cost $6. And I like this one because the brush head is so big. I can just cover a lot of surface all at once with this one. The only thing I don't really like about this brush is washing it, or I should say drying it, is just a little of a challenge because of the handle, or lack thereof, I should say. I just find it hard to like position it in a way where I'm not like smashing the bristles down when I'm trying to let it dry, because I like to let my bristles let my brushes kind of hang on an angle when I'm trying to dry them. So the handle, with it being so short, makes it a little hard, but I mean, that's just a small thing. So again, this is the e.l.f. contouring Kabuki brush, and that one cost $6. Okay, moving on to eyes. I already did my brows, and I already have some concealer on for a primer. So the next brush is the e.l.f. C eyeshadow brush. This is meant to put like eyeshadow kind of like in your outer V, I guess. I like using this brush to flatten and blend out my eye primer or my concealer. This brush is like super dense, and it's like really small, so it kind of like just fits really nicely on my eyelid area. And because it's really dense, it does a good job at like really like pushing the product down onto the skin and making it nice and flat. I don't remember exactly how much this one cost, but it is e.l.f. I'm pretty sure I got it from Target, so I feel like it was either like $2 or $3. And then moving on to eyeshadow, today I'm going to be using the MAC Prissy Princess palette, and I'm using this today because I am trying to hit pan on some of these products, or some of these shadows rather. So I'm going to start off with this shade over here. I'm going to use that to place it pretty much over most of my lid. I'm going to go in with the M167 brush by Morphe. So this is just like a flat shader brush. This is my favorite brush for placing shadows directly on my lid, because again, I just feel like it's a nice snug fit for like the shape and the size of my eyelid. And it's really nice and dense, really nice and flat. And it's a Morphe brush, so it was pretty inexpensive. I feel like I paid maybe $7 for this one, but I'll have the correct price up on the screen for y'all. Okay, so I try to use the least amount of tools possible when I'm doing my makeup, because I always think about having to wash the brushes when I'm done. So whenever I can use like both sides of the brush, that's what I do. So I'm going to stick with the same brush, and I'm just going to turn it over. Now I'm going to go in with this shade over here. It's just a little bit darker than the first one that I applied, and I'm going to put that on the outer part of my lid. And I'm pretty much doing the same thing, just using a darker color. And then I also like using the tip of this brush to just very lightly brush whatever color I put on my outer lid. I like to just very lightly brush it into my crease. Next, I'm going into the Pure Sculptor palette. This is another product that I'm trying to pan. I'm actually only trying to pan these two highlighter shades over here, but a couple of y'all suggested that I try to use these two shades as eyeshadow, so that's what I've been trying to do from time to time. So I'm going to take this light brown up at the top, and I'm going to go in with my M506 brush. This is called, I believe it's called the Mini Tapered brush, and I'm going to use that to put this brown, I guess kind of like in my, I call it like my fake crease area. So I'm just using this to try and like buff the whole look out. I'm doing something really simple today because number one, I want to stay focused on the brushes, but also because I am going to work, so I just don't want to have something too like flashy going on today. So I like this particular brush because it's really small. I have limited eyelid space, so I feel like I need like small detailed brushes to work on my eyes. So again, this is the M506, and I believe this the cost of it is somewhere around the same as my other Morphe brush, and I think I got both of these directly from Morphe. I either got them directly from Morphe or from Ulta. Next, I'm going to go in with this silvery shade here. I'm going to use that to highlight my tear duct area. I don't believe that this brush has a name, but this was part of a quad set that I got from BoxyCharm, and I think this came in the December box, so I'll have the name of the set listed on the screen. I hope you guys can see what the brush head looks like. I like this brush for my inner corner because it's like almost like a tapered blending brush, or tapered pencil brush rather, and I feel like it just fits like really perfectly right up in here, and I could just like swoop it around very easily. And it's like a small detail brush, so again, I need that for my eyes because I don't have a lot of space to work with. And I don't really have like a favorite brush for putting eyeshadow on my lower lash. I'm not going to put eyeshadow there today because again, I do want this to be more of like a daytime look. Lately, I've been reaching for this Aesthetica brush. It's just an angled liner brush, but I mean, I don't reach for this every day. I wouldn't call this my favorite. I've just been reaching for it lately for whatever reason. All right, we're gonna move on to bronzer, and I'm using two different powders for this. So I'm gonna use my Maybelline Fit Me powder in 40 Dark, and I'm gonna start off with the e.l.f. Total Face Brush. I do remember that I picked this up from Target and it was only $2 because I remember I was so surprised that it was just $2. So I'm gonna pick it up on the brush head, and I'm just gonna like very messily apply this to my forehead. And because I have like the part on the side of my head, a lot of times I will just concentrate the bronzer like right up in this area. I may not go all the way down to like my ears or my temples because I feel like when I bring my hair from behind my ears, you really won't see that part of my forehead anyway. But I like this brush for doing my forehead bronzer because I feel like it allows me to not apply the bronzer in like a straight line on my forehead. Like it lets me do it kind of like in a messy motion, and I feel like that makes it blend a little bit better. And then to bronze my cheeks and my jawline, lately I've been using this brush from Luxie. This is the Luxie 680 Pro Precision Face Brush. This came from BoxyCharm. It was part of a 10-piece Luxie brush set, so I don't know how much this one cost on its own, but I feel like this one fits so perfectly right along my cheekbone. And I know it looks dense. It is dense, but it's still nice and soft. And I just feel like it's the perfect fit, mainly for my cheekbone, but it is a nice fit for my jawline as well. For blush, I'm going to use my ABH Blush Kit in Radiant, and I am going in with this color here. This is called Coastline. Y'all see me use this brush in every single video. This is the Aesthetica P12 brush, and I believe this retails for $27. I also got this one from BoxyCharm. I like this for the blush because you see how over here it's tapered like this. I feel like that just fits like perfectly onto my cheek. And because the brush is like super fluffy, it will apply the blush kind of like all over the place without being like too all over the place, if that makes sense. So I want my blush to be placed like where it's supposed to be, but I don't want it to look like a straight line of product going up and down my face. So this one, I guess, disperses the product just the way I like it. And for highlighter today, I'm just gonna use this one just because I'm not gonna use my Project Pan highlighter today. I'm gonna go in with a Fenty Kilowatt highlighter. I'm gonna use this brown shade over here. This is called Sand Castle. I got this brush from Ipsy. I don't remember the name of it, and when I was pulling these brushes out to do this video, I realized that this particular brush it doesn't have any information on it. So I will make sure that I have it on the screen for y'all, but unfortunately I can't tell you right now what this brush is called. But I feel like since I got it from Ipsy, it should be pretty inexpensive. And then to put highlighter on my brow bone, I know a lot of people don't like fan brushes, but I like using a fan brush for my brow bone. So this is just a standard fan brush. This came from Morphe, but it came as part of a set. So it doesn't have a number on it, but I'll have the information on the set in the screen. But I think that the way that this particular fan brush is shaped, it just fits my brow bone perfectly. Alright, I went ahead and finished everything else off camera because the highlighter brush was the last one that I had to show y'all. So this is my finished look for today. I kept my makeup simple because number one, I'm on my way to work. So I usually don't even wear this much makeup to work, but I really wanted to film this video this morning. So I kept my makeup simple for that, but also because I just wanted to stay focused on the makeup brushes today and not necessarily the makeup. So I'm really interested to know what your favorite brushes are for your makeup application, and do you use any of the same brushes that I like to use, or do you have any alternatives for the ones that I like to use? Let me know in the comments. I really hope that y'all enjoyed the video. If you did, please let me know by giving me a thumbs up. And if you have not subscribed yet, please consider doing so before you leave today. And I hope to see y'all back for my next video. Until then, take care. Have a good one, y'all. Bye.